these thoughts or these intuitions of just really finding peace for my why. And my why was my connection with my grandpa.
Welcome to another episode of the Matter Over Mind Experience. I'm your host, master trainer, and weight management expert, Narado Zico Powell. And I have a lovely episode for you today. We're going to talk about motivation. We're going to talk about consistency. We're going to talk about how to unlock your hidden potential. I mean, we got some banging stuff for you. Oh my, just stick through and get ready for this episode. Because you know what? I feel like I have a celebrity on the show. I mean, I'm honored to have this guest today. 15-time triathlon athlete. 15-time. I mean, I've known people done triathlon a couple of times. Okay, they're not going to do it anymore. But 15 times, you have to be a different level crazy to do that, right? I mean, come on, right?
Full on.
So, yes,
Yeah.
she's going to tell us about what she's gone through, how she's prepared herself, and how you can learn from the things that she has learned to unlock your potential. But I have something else to tell you about. She also has a book. Oh, by the way, I'm not doing her favors. I haven't called her name yet. Jen Rulon. And she has a book that you should check out. What's the name of the book again? I'm sorry. Self-Motivation Strategies for Women. That's the name of the book. You love this book. Go check it out. It's on Amazon. There's so many places you can get this book. Go ahead and check it out so you can also unlock your hidden potentials. But with that being said, let's welcome Jen to the show. Hey, Jen, how you doing today?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I'm excited myself. Oh, by the way, everyone, I apologize. I forgot to say, of course, I have a Hackety episode. And that Hackety episode is going to be, how can we embrace change, overcome challenges, and unlock your potential? That's the hack that we're going to go through towards the end of the episode. So I apologize for missing that. And Jen is going to drop some nuggets on this topic. And with that being said, Jen, tell my audience about yourself.
I will. I am a 15-time Ironman triathlete. If you don't know what an Ironman is, it's a 2.4 mile swim, a 112-mile bike, and then a 26.2 marathon run. So you have literally 17 hours to finish this race. Yes, that is in a day, right? When I first wanted to do this race, I was 17 years old. I was watching the 1989 ABC Wide World of Sports. And if you're around my age, you may remember the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. And then you see the guy crashing into the wall, right? On the ABC World of Sports. But there was two guys doing that, the showdown. They were neck and neck on that run. And it was Mark Allen and Dave Scott. And then these guys crossed the finish line at 8 hours. And then an hour later, a female crossed, and it was Paula Newby Frazier. And at 17 years old, I said to my mom and my grandpa, who was more of a father figure for me than my dad, to say, or I looked up to my grandpa, I should say. I said, I'm going to do that race. I'm going to do that race by the time I'm 30. And my mom was like, okay, sure, go for it. My grandpa was like, okay, but if you go, let me know. I'll go because I served over there in World War II. I would love to go back to Hawaii, all that stuff, right? And by the time when I was 29 years old, I was like, oh, dang, this Ironman's coming up. I need to do an Ironman. And so I did not do the Ironman World Championship before my 30th, but I did do an Ironman at Ironman Wisconsin in 2002, 6 weeks before my 31st birthday. So there's a lot of space in between 17 and 31. I just don't know how long we have to talk. So
no worries. Because I have a question for you, because
Sure.
you seem like you're very similar to I am, except you may be a little bit crazier than I am. Where you have that mindset where I want to do something, I'm gonna get it done, right? Which I know led you into writing this book. So kind of tell me, how how did that mindset come about? And then the second piece is,
Ooh,
how did that drive you into writing your book?
yeah, good. Those are great questions. You know, I currently I live in Costa Rica, and I was traveling the country the last 2 weeks, and we were digging deep, like a whole bunch of friends and I were just digging deep. And when I realized somebody told me I couldn't do it, I sort of went into that mode of watch me, right? And now I look at it, sure, was that the healthiest way to do it? Maybe not as I've gotten older, but I've accomplished a lot because of that mindset. So when people tell me no, I say, one, watch me, two, let me show you how it's done. Right. And so how do you get that? How do you, and I think, um, like I said, now I feel like I don't have to prove anything to anybody anymore, only to myself, right? So if I made the choice to move down to Costa Rica, that was my decision. That wasn't me saying, "Oh, watch me do it. I'm going to do it." That's not me anymore. But I've also learned how to navigate beyond the, "Oh, let me show you how it's done" type of thing. And I think that's just having a passion and having that goal. I know that sounds really cliche, but like when my grandfather said I'm gonna go with you, I immediately knew that. I'm like, well, shoot, if grandpa's gonna go with me for the Ironman World Championship, then yeah, I'm gonna make it, because my grandpa was my one and only. Like he was my like, if he's passed since, and that's another story, but like, for me to see grandpa and talk to grandpa again, I'd be like, I did it. And he would be like, I know you did. And he's like, and I know you would have done it, right? Whether I was still alive or gone. So yeah, I think having that mindset of, let me show you how it's done. I think when people have told me, I remember the ironic thing about me doing an Ironman is that I hated running growing up. So I was like the very last person on the presidential mile run test. I was clocking like 9 minutes and 30-second minute miles, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're slow." And I'm like, "Yep, I'm slow. I just don't like running." So then I got really good at running, and that was the big thing for me. Um, so yeah, but then let's turn it on around, and going about the book. So I have written two other books I've self-published, but then this book was through a publisher, and they asked me like, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you getting ready for?" And at this time, I started writing it in 2020. Yeah. So they reached out to me before, during the whole 2020 debacle. And at that time, I didn't have a lot of triathletes and a lot of coaches, or a lot of athletes doing races, because nobody was racing, right? Nobody was doing Ironmans. And so my full-time job is coaching triathletes and getting them ready for Ironmans, half Ironmans, sprints, marathons, whatever that might be. And so then the publisher was like, "What are you working on now?" I'm like, "I'm working on and helping women to really find their own potential," because I knew how to do that for my whole life. I've ran 15 Ironmans. I did go to the Ironman World Championship. I started my business, jenrulon.com. I coached over 50 athletes to get to their own Ironman. So I wanted to write a book about how to do that. And that was, if you look in the book, you'll see that the breakdown, it's all about the physical mindset, and it starts with the body. And you know that. I mean, and then how it breaks it down. So
That's in you. You actually just set me up for my next take, because then, or should I
I
say,
felt
for
like I was
your next
babbling.
take,
Yeah.
because then I want to ask about the mindset of a triathlon athlete. Like,
Yeah.
what's that like, going through that experience?
Yeah. I think my first Ironman, um, I had three goals. One was to finish. Two was to be like, okay, I want to be under 13 hours. That would be pretty respectable. And then the last one was like, I'm going to qualify for Kona my first time. Well, I didn't qualify for Kona my first time, but I did finish, and I did go under 13 hours. I was like 12 hours and 58 minutes. Hey, that's still under 13 hours. I think the training plays a huge role because it prepares you to do this. So when in 2001, my I was out training for the Ironman. I'm sorry, the World Championship in the Netherlands. And at that time, I found out that my grandfather passed away, and that was in um, that was in 2001 of May of 2001. So I'm out there riding my bike in San Antonio, Texas, is where I was living at the time. And I remember saying to myself, why am I out here? What am I doing? I just lost my grandpa, like he was 89 years old. And I was like, oh my God, why am I doing this? And as I was pressing the hill in San Antonio, the sun was going down, and all of a sudden a swarm of yellow butterflies just started floating around me. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, it's grandpa. It's grandpa. Grandpa's like, no, Jen, I'm here. I'll always be here for you, no matter where you are going to be, whether it's, in Costa Rica, whether it's you trying to qualify for the Ironman World Championship. So I had these thoughts or these intuitions of just really finding peace for my why. And my why was my connection with my grandpa. It was finding that reason why I wanted to do the I wanted to do the Ironman World Championship because I thought it was really cool. I thought it was like, okay, that's pretty badass, right? But then I started recognizing like my grandpa plays a big role in this dream of mine, right? Anyways, as I started doing more and more Ironmans, I did 4 Ironmans. I took an 8-year sabbatical because by that time I was focusing on my career. I was focusing on potentially having children, which I did not have. I had miscarriages. And so I really didn't want, for those 8 years in between my 4th Ironman to my 5th Ironman, I did CrossFit, drank the Kool-Aid, whatever, all that fun stuff. But it made me realize that I sort of forgot my dream after my 4th Ironman, because I forgot I wanted to get to Kona. That was the ultimate goal. I did 4 Ironmans, but I still did get to that Ironman. And that was the Ironman that I told my grandpa and my mom I was going to do. So I forgot. And so I started getting into the mindset of racing an Ironman and not just doing it to finish it.
I like that. Sorry, I had to put my mic on mute for a moment there. So
No,
apologize
that's
for that,
okay.
everybody. But yeah, I like that. And it's the big thing that stood out to me was you mentioned knowing your why, and your why was your grandpa. And that's extremely important. And when I work, and not to the level of, let's say, a triathlon or even a marathon, just when I work with someone who wants to get in shape or want to get healthier, one of the first discussions we always have is their why. And I need to know their why, because based on what they tell me, I will know whether or not they're going to be consistent, whether or not they're going to stick to it. If you know your why, no matter what happens in your life, you'll be able to stick through it because you know the on the ground reason, the real reason why you're doing this. I had someone tell me one time that knowing your why is just common sense. And I said, oh, really? But this is the same person that is never consistent with their fitness. Every few months, they're like, oh, I'm gonna start working out, and do it for a couple of weeks or 3 weeks, and then they'll stop. And I'm like, well, really, but you don't know your why, because if you did, you would be more consistent, right? Because it can be as simple as, or maybe say complicated, however we want to look at it, but it can be a situation like, you know what, I want to have more energy to play with my children. I want to live longer to be a better mom or be a better dad. It could be
Or
I'm sorry?
No, for like, I always think about my mom, like to be around for her grandchildren.
Exactly. It could be, I
Yeah.
want to live a longer life. I want to live a healthier life. I don't want to be 60 and 70 and struggling. I want to thrive. Like, when you uncover that why, it completely
Yeah.
transforms your life. And that's why transformational coaching is a part of my package with my clients, because they have to have that full understanding going into the program. Because I can give you a bunch of information and tell you all
Mhm.
these things to do. But if you don't know your why, you're probably never going to do it, or you're going to do it one or two
So true.
times.
It's
Right.
so
So,
true.
or maybe you
Hmm.
can just be crazy like Jen and I are, but that's a whole different conversation in itself. But
That's a whole other podcast.
yeah, that's a whole different rabbit hole that we don't have time to get into today. But what we do
Right.
have time to get into is that we're going to talk about the importance of strength training. And we're also going to
Mm.
talk about how to unlock your hidden potentials. But before I get there, I think it's the right time to give Jen a break and just talk about one of my favorite products. Yes, I'm talking about Heal from the Amino Co. See, Heal is 100% science-backed essential amino acid formulation designed to reduce recovery times and improve physical function by accelerating muscle repair while helping you maintain a healthy inflammatory response. Now, why is that important? Well, I love Heal, right? Because it has essential aminos, a particular blend of essential aminos and creatine and whey protein concentrate that your body can use at that particular time to help you to. I use as an intro workouts, help me to bang through my workouts in the middle of my workouts, helps me to recover because it aids with a healthy inflammatory response and just helps me to be a better version. Like I heal and I go back out there and I can do it again. I absolutely love how they put it all together. I mean,
Love
before I was using Heal, I would buy essential aminos. Before I even knew anything, I was buying branched chain aminos. Eventually, I started buying essential aminos. Then I would buy creatine, and then of course,
it.
whey protein isolate and so on and so forth. But that has it all together that your body can utilize. Because
Mm.
when you eat, for example, like say you eat meat, right? You get the protein, you get the creatine, and that also breaks down to essential aminos. So when you think about it, you're getting it the way you're supposed to get it to get you to improve your performance. And that's why I love Heal. And also the name Heal, right? You gotta love it, like Heal. That's why I
Love it.
love it so much, right? So if you train, you're getting ready for a race or anything, check out Heal. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. And something else I love about Heal, they have all natural flavors, which I promote, right? And then I'm gonna promote that over there over anything
Yeah.
else. So a lot of these artificial sugars and all that stuff. Yeah, it does have a couple flavors like that, but it has all natural flavors that you really, really hard to find anywhere else. Enough about even that. There was research, right? Where the net balance whole body protein synthesis and breakdown were measured because they compare it to quality to high quality whey, and the response to Heal was actually found to be 3 times larger than whey protein on a gram to gram basis. Think about that because of the proprietary blend along with the essential aminos and the whey protein concentrate, right? So check out Heal. The website is aminoco.com, says Zico Health. You click on there, you see this beautiful mug just smiling at you, and you get 30% off their amazing products. I can't say enough about this stuff. Sometimes I haven't started when I'm talking about it because I get so excited because I absolutely love their stuff. They're actually from the amino code. Their products were initially built for NASA astronauts and later refined for everyday people like myself. So check it out. But of course, the link is going to be beneath the description of the episode where you can click on it and get your 30% discount. And that's my perfect segue because now we're going to go back to talk about strength training. So, Jen, in your
Mhm.
expertise, how important is strength training, not just in competing for a triathlon, but just in
Mhm.
overall fitness?
I always say that strength training is the fountain of youth. A I started talking in Spanish. It's so for me. I think what happened for me was when I did the 4 Ironmans. I took that sabbatical. I did CrossFit. I drank the Kool-Aid. Got my master's degree in kinesiology. I realized how important strength training was during that time, especially going into my fifth, my sixth, my seventh, my eighth, all the way up to my through my 15th Ironman and qualifying for the Ironman World Championship, right? I realized the importance of that. As a runner, as a triathlete, I am not going to get bulky because basic exercise physiology, because I'm doing so much on the swim, the bike, and the run. I'm not going to get bulky. I'm not going to be looking like a bodybuilder, right? But I want to try to keep on as much muscle mass as possible up until I start like really going into that specific training, which is about 12 weeks out from an Ironman, right? So I'm going to drop a little bit of weight, a little bit of muscle. But moving ahead after my 15 Ironmans, I realized that I didn't want to swim, bike, and run anymore. I was sort of over it, been there, done it, don't need to do it again type of thing. And I love how strength training what it's done for me. I am 51 years old and I feel better. I look better. The confidence is higher. But we know this, that after starting around age 30, we will start losing muscle mass. What is it? 6 to 8% per year. Don't quote me on that. I totally forgot to look that up. But we start losing that muscle mass every decade. So if you can stay ahead of the game and start getting that strength training in, that is going to be crucial as we get older. And that is something that I am truly, I have my own app. It's and it's based on body weight workouts, dumbbells, kettlebells. I was in Bocas del Toro in Panama, and I was in a little hut and I did body weights on my app. I did it live, and it was just a body weight workout. It was something simple, but it just kept that body moving. It kept that booty going and core work and stuff like that. So I cannot emphasize that enough for athletes, for moms, for dads, for grandparents, anybody. Like, strength training plays such a huge role as we age.
I love the thing that you said about strength training, because that's absolutely important. And when we say strength training, we're not even just talking about weights necessarily, because there's ways to strength train without using weights, even though for some, I can't curl myself, right? So I would like to have something to curl, but you can strength train without weights for the most part. But so that's a good point. And something else that I want to add to that is, we're now realizing over the last couple of years the importance of protein for our health.
Yes.
Right. And what do protein break down to, by the way? Essential aminos, right? So that's really the end game, essential aminos and creatine, which our body can use well. And if we strength train, and then that allows us to actually eat more high quality protein. Hopefully you're eating high quality protein, which helps you to recover, help you to get stronger, help you to perform better, right? So think about that. Like, we're now realizing, okay, that with strength training along with good, adequate protein is becoming like the caveat for slowing down the aging process. And sarcopenia is what you're talking about when we're talking about that with loss of muscle as we age, right? Like, I'm 40 years old and I'm still building muscle. I gain about a pound of just muscle every 2 months, and I consistently do that because of I eat high quality protein, I strength train, and I keep my inflammation low with an anti-inflammatory diet, and so on and so forth, right? And I also do, of course, I do cardio. Of course, cardio is important.
Right.
Which actually, Jen, I'm gonna stop talking and ask you a question right here.
Yeah.
Because talking about the cardio thing, because you mentioned about that you're never gonna really get bulky because of how much cardio you do. But the traditional person out there doesn't do that much cardio, right? So what if they're thinking in their heads, well, that's great for you, but I don't want to work out because I don't want to look like a man. I don't want to look bulky, and I'm not going to do that much cardio anyway. So what would you say to someone like that?
Woman or man?
Let's say woman, because that doesn't come from men that much.
Right. You're not going to get bulky. Like, only if you want to get bulky, right? That's the thing. Like, if I can't emphasize this enough, but if you have a coach or a personal trainer, I would really talk to them and share with them your goals and say, hey, you know what? I don't really want to get bulky, but I don't want to do a lot of cardio. So what do you suggest doing? And there's so much as coaches, as personal trainers, that we can adjust and maneuver your workout. So if you want a nice little booty, and whatever that might be, and maybe some nice shoulders because you want to go to the beach, we'll make that happen. But it's not just a strength training. It's about, going maybe for a walk. I'm not going to ask you to swim, bike, and run, but maybe going for a walk. Maybe doing a 20-minute walk every single day just to get the body moving. But I am going to do strength training 4 times a week. And we're going to talk about your nutrition, because that plays a huge role too. Like, I saw one of your posts about how we don't get enough protein in our diets. We don't, and that was a struggle for me when I was traveling. I had to go I found protein, and it was vegan protein, not my favorite, but it worked, but I got it in. Like, that's how I was getting my protein in. So women tend to not get bulky unless they start lifting heavy weights. And you just have to talk with your coach or your personal trainer, just tell them, hey, this is what I want.
Even to add to that, even if you lift
Yeah.
heavy weight, women won't necessarily get bulky. It's a matter of the right program. It's a matter of how much cardio you do, the type of cardio you do. Are you doing zone 2 cardio that keeps you in the fat burning zone versus, zone 3, zone 4 that may burn a little bit, some muscle as well.
Yeah.
So a good trainer is going to understand all those things. And there's a term. So I posted something a couple months ago. I don't remember how long it's been now. And I mentioned, under one of my workout videos, and I mentioned the importance of building lean muscle. And one of my friends who's a trainer, she commented and she said, all muscle is lean. And I didn't even think about it. I was like, she's so true. She's so right.
So true.
Muscle is lean. Like, we always say lean muscle, but muscle is actually lean.
Right.
So when we talk about building muscle for men or for women, we're talking muscle is lean. So when you say I don't want to look bulky, when you're building muscle, you're gonna build quote unquote lean muscle, but that's really what it is, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at someone who, let's say, you look at a female who's bulky, she doesn't just lift a lot of weights. She takes other things to get her there, right?
Yes.
Shorter steroids. So maybe steroids. We don't know.
Testosterone, don't know. Right.
Exactly. So there's a lot of other things, but most, like I said, I'm 40 years old. It takes, for me, I build about a half a pound of muscle every month. And I'm a man who stays in the gym. Right. And that's impressive. So most people you're not going to just get up one day, maybe in beginner gains in the beginning, you may gain a few pounds or so. Sure. But after that, you're not going to be just all of a sudden just blow up and look like She-Hulk. No, that's not going to happen. The human body is not designed that way. Go ahead, Jen.
No, I was going to say, because I'm 5'8", 5'9", just depends on the day, right? But in my triathlon years, I was at 128, 129 weight wise. And now I'm at 136, 135, just depends. And to me, I look better. I look healthier. I don't look so I could see there was just bits and pieces of me that just looked so worn down and tired. And I feel like now I actually look better than I did back in the triathlon days, because I wasn't trying to run away from something, if you want to say that, or I wasn't trying to, I wasn't, or I was trying to chase that goal. I got that goal. And once I got that goal, I knew I could stop. And now I just want to age like fine wine. I want to be like an everyday healthy human. And that's that's actually the name of my podcast that's coming out soon. I totally plugged that. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is that I just want to be better than I was yesterday.
By the way, I'm already going to tell you that, Jen, if you don't have me on your podcast, we're never going to talk again.
Okay. You're on. I'm already excited. I'm already thinking about questions to ask you. So it's going to be, I'm excited. Yeah.
I'm a minefield of craziness. I don't know how much you want to dance up here, but I don't want to be an everyday healthy human. this is everyday healthy human, and this is me, and this is what I strive for and consistently strive
Oh,
for. I don't, they're not,
yeah.
and I'm saying this because it's true, not even because I'm bragging a little bit, but there are
No.
not many 40-year-olds who look like me and also where have the cardiovascular fitness and the strength and can build muscle the way that I do. And it's
Right.
because I consistently thrive, or I should say
Hmm.
strive to be at this level. You know, you
Right.
want to constantly be at this level. Now, there's some bad things that may come with that. And Jen talked about that earlier in the show, because you don't want
Yeah.
to always be chasing something where you always feel like you're never good enough. You know, that can
Right.
creep into your mind. That can happen, but be careful of that. But when you know your why, when you know that you want to be here and you want to not
Hmm.
just, when you reach here, you want to keep going and going. You know, like was it
Yeah.
what's the rapper Lil Wayne that says like the higher it goes to the mountain, I can't rap, so I can't say it, but something like the higher it goes to the mountain, the smaller the target is, or something like that, or the
Oh,
smaller the
uh-huh.
peak is, right? Because you get
Yeah.
into the goal, the higher, the more you get to the goal, the harder it may get. But if you push and push and
Yeah.
push, when you get there, you feel amazing. You're like, okay, now what next? Right.
Right.
And you live that life
Right.
where you're always living kind of, I guess, in a way you can say above your potential, and if that's possible or
Yeah.
not, but you just feel freaking amazing. And
Agreed.
that's what Jen and I try to bring to you, to get
Yeah.
you to understand that you can go out there and be all you can be, I guess is the best way I can
Right.
say it. I've never been in
Right.
the army, but I'm going to say that. Be all you can be, right? Like,
Right.
be the best
Right.
version of yourself, which leads me to the hack of the episode, because I'm really excited for this, because I want to talk about unlocking your potential. And we kind of
Okay.
hit some of those hints already there, Jen. So how can we embrace change,
Mm.
overcome challenges, and then unlock that hidden potential?
I think embracing change. Are you kidding me? I think when it comes to change, change is going to happen to all of us, no matter what's going to happen. And you have to figure out, you can thrive or you can survive. That's your choice. Your choice is to really, like, if you're gonna, like, how do I say this? I think the big, and the rooster is going to help me too. I think the biggest thing is, do you want to thrive or do you just want to survive? And for us, like how we talked about, like, we're at that level, we're going to thrive and we're going to go beyond the thriving. So when you embrace a change, you've got to accept it. You've got to accept it. Okay. That's the first thing. What was the second one?
Is overcome challenges.
We overcome challenges. I mean, we all deal with challenges, right? Sort of that same concept. And I feel when we have those challenges, a lot of people around you are going to tell you what you should do, how you should do it. You should do it this way. You should do it this way. Like, maybe you're a woman, then you go to your girlfriends or your mom or your family, and everybody gives you their opinions, their advice. Oh, you should try this. Oh, you should do this. You should do that. Honestly, you need to sit with yourself. I want you to take 5 minutes every single day, whether it's 5 minutes, and I want you to express your gratitude. I want you to express your gratitude on what you currently have. I want you to express your gratitude on what you had in the past. I want you to express your gratitude, what you have now. And I want you to express your gratitude for the future. Because if you're trying to overcome this challenge, it's coming up for a reason, and that reason is going to be a lesson for your next challenge or your next change that's going to happen, right? So if you can express gratitude every single day, that's going to help you overcome those challenges and stop asking people their opinion, because they're basing it off of their fears and their worries and their life, not yours.
That is so true. And I have a story on that, but I'm going to let you roll. I'm going to let you roll with it. I'm going to let you roll with it. Because the last part of the question is, how can you unlock your potential?
Listen and hear. Listen to that heart. Ooh, because the heart knows the way. If all my naysayers told me that I shouldn't move to Costa Rica because it's a third world country, I don't know anybody down there. If I heard everybody say that to me, I wouldn't be here where I am today, right? I am the most happiest, healthiest I've ever been, physically, emotionally, spiritually, because I had a major life change in my life. I went through a divorce after 18 years, right? I had a major life change. So that was going to happen, right? That happened. Then I knew I had to figure out that challenge. What was I going to do? What was going to make me happy? What was going to make me make a change, right? And I knew that coming down to Costa Rica, 2 minutes from the beach, waking up to roosters at 4 o'clock in the morning was going to be much more soulful than waking up in San Antonio and just feeling like I'm in a hamster wheel, right? Unlocking the potential. I'm not telling you guys to come move down to Costa Rica with me or go to Panama or go on vacation, right? My goal for, I think, all of us, and I want to talk about this on my podcast, is that we have to figure out what drives you to become the better version of yourself. And if we go back to our very beginning of our podcast, you got to tap into that why. My why was to find happiness and peace.
You stole the words right out of my mouth, because I was just about to follow up by saying, and also just knowing your why. You just completely, we're on the same wavelength here. We're on the same wavelength here, which we're pretty much done now. We're wrapping up.
Perfect.
So now, Jen, this is all up to you. Give us your shameless plug. I know we have jenrulon.com. You mentioned that, and you mentioned your podcast. So just tell us everything. How can we know more about your work, access your book, podcast, website, all the good stuff?
Perfect. Yeah, you could go to jenrulon.com. That's just a very brief overview of everything that I do. I am a triathlon coach. I coach up to 10 to 12 people a year based off of their marathon. If they want to do marathon, half marathon, Ironman, half Ironman, sprint triathlon, you could even do that as well. I have an app. If you go to the Apple store and just type in Jen Rulon, it's right there. There are over 51 workouts, body weight, warm-ups, dumbbells, kettlebells, all of that stuff. And I don't know when this is launching, but my goal is to drop it so everybody can afford it, drop the pricing. And then my Everyday Healthy Human podcast will be launching on July 7th. So that is 7/7/2023, which adds up to 7 as well. So 777. And then you can find me on Instagram, Coach Jen Rulon.
Yes, and you can. We're following each other now. Actually, it's funny. You followed me right before the episode, and I was like, oh, "That's really cool." So yeah, so now we're following each other. So if you follow me, Zico Health, you can find her. Or you follow her, you can find me, and so on and so forth. Right. So that's
Zico,
awesome.
I think we need to get you down to Costa Rica, and we need to do some workouts together.
That would be fun. I'll bring my guitar with me. We'll play some guitar after a workout. So that would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
So everybody see the guitars right behind me. Everybody knows this.
That's right.
I love to play. And then my shirtless picture, that's a whole different issue. But with that being said, Jen, thank you for being here. It's going to be fantastic. Her contact information is going to be in the show notes. I'm going to make it easy. Show notes going to be zkl.com/Jen Rulon. But of course, the show notes are going to be in the description of the podcast. You can click on it, learn more about her work, and get in touch with Jen if you need to. And with that being said, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Jen, for being here. And we're out for the day, fam.
Ciao.